My name's Stephen Andryc. I am a fifth year graduate student at Case. Did my undergraduate here as well. I'm studying mathematics and I'm on the wrestling team. I really like the VL Athletic Center. They've got probably, off the top of my head, I can think of three really great study spots whenever I have work. Also just athletes from, my own team and other teams are always passing through there. So it's nice to say hi to people. I've got coaches, athletic trainers, professional staff. I just really like being there, whether, it's a few hours out of practice or, just on my way to the quad to class. I really like Veal and, obviously I spend a lot of time there with the team too. So, might as well get used to it. My favorite professor has probably got to be Joel Langer of the math department. So I actually, my first ever math class I took at Case, calculus class, was with him, and I really loved how he has a real way of taking complicated concepts and explaining them geometrically. So for kind of more picture-oriented people, it's really helpful. And I think that ties into kind of his research interests and more advanced classes he teaches of just lots of geometry. So I've taken a class called algebraic geometry with him, which is, kind of the study of how solutions to equations, how you can study the geometric properties of those. I've taken a class called knot theory with him, which, as the name sounds like, is the kind of formal study of knots and how you can use math to describe them. And I've taken complex analysis with him, which is kind of a really mind-bending class of what happens when you can do geometry using complex numbers and stuff. So I've just really enjoyed, studying under him and, had a lot of great classes with him. So when I was looking at colleges, Case really stood out to me as a place where people are both very passionate about their interests and also very collaborative. So I've really been lucky enough in my time at Case to experience this both in the domain of wrestling and academics. So I know with wrestling, we're a pretty detail-oriented team. We love really breaking down techniques to really understand why it works, not just how to, maybe just get it done in a meet. Really want to understand it. But people are really hardworking and supportive of each other. And, I've experienced the exact same thing in classes where, I have a lot of classmates who really want to maybe understand the more difficult concepts in classes and not just get their good grade on their test, but really, make the most of all the great resources we have here and push themselves. And, it's my fifth year here and I've just loved this environment, both academically and athletically. So, it's been a really great experience for me. I can think of a couple specific matches, maybe where this has happened, but there's just quite a few points where, you're in a match and, wrestling's obviously a very, very exhausting sport. And, especially when it's like a really close one and you're maybe, battling all the self-doubt and, trying to get yourself to, maybe get it moving. And maybe there's a break in the action, or maybe you just kind of notice like your teammates just yelling and screaming for you. It's always just really great to feel that support. I remember a couple weeks ago, I had this match against someone I lost to last year, and I remember I think the score was tied, and I was going into the final period, and I remember just looking sideways and seeing, my entire team on their feet, yelling and screaming, and just gave me so much energy, and I ended up winning that match. And that, I guess that specifically could be a high of my wrestling career. Just really great to have those guys that I do all those tough workouts with, and they're also my friends outside of practice, whether I'm watching movies or TV shows with him or getting food or stuff. So just really love being a part of this team. Professor Langer is also my advisor in the integrated master's program. So he's supervising my research for a master's project. So he's done a lot of research in the past on a specific type of, math concept called bicircular quartic curves, and shown that they really bridge together two kind of separate fields of math really nicely. So one being elliptic curve theory and the other being, quadratic differentials. And I'm still working on how to explain those. I really like the quote that's like, you only understand something if you can explain it simply. So I'm still working on that. But He's shown that, there's this concept that kind of bridges these two topics, and my research is kind of looking into how to work with that bridge really nicely. So, I've really enjoyed research. It's pushed me in ways that classes have not, because I know, once you get to, maybe your senior year, I guess for me, my fifth year, it's like I'm kind of used to how classes work. Like I know how to study for tests and do homeworks, but it always catches me off guard when it's like, kind of this open-ended question that there isn't necessarily a right or wrong answer to. And, a lot of times I show up to research meetings with, more questions and no answers. So, but it's been a really great experience, and I'll be really excited to kind of wrap up my research this semester.